all been one big giant farce, total fabrication, conspiracy theory designed to smear and undermine and delegitimize the President of the United States. And as we are now seeing tonight, it continues to fall apart. Now, another key development we're following tonight, the President is now adding some very serious firepower to his legal team. Former New York City Mayor, former federal prosecutor Rudy Giuliani, and two other key attorneys have just been added. Now, Rudy Giuliani told the Washington Post that he is coming aboard because he hopes to, quote, negotiate an end to the Russian probe for the good of the country. I say amen, because the American people, all of you, deserve better than this. It's a crucial move because, as we've been telling you, Robert Mueller, his merry team of Democratic donors, they need to stop this ever-expanding insanity. Russian collusion now has become and evolved into Stormy Daniels. This madness has to end. And also tonight, the former FBI Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe, he is in some serious legal trouble. The DOJ Inspector General has issued a criminal referral for McCabe after finding that he lied under oath 3 times in an investigation about media leaks. Jim Comey, are you paying attention? Even though the evidence against him is overwhelming, well, McCabe's legal team is firing back with a statement that reads, quote, "We are advised of the referral within the past few weeks, although we believe the referral is unjustified. The standard for an IG referral is very low." Now, we have already met with staff members from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we are confident unless there is inappropriate pressure from high levels of the administration, the U.S. Attorney's Office will conclude that it should decline to prosecute. Here's the problem with that statement. The investigation into McCabe had nothing to do with President Trump. This is the DOJ Inspector General. His name is Michael Horowitz. Get used to that name because you're going to hear a lot about it in the next few weeks. He independently reached the conclusion about McCabe lying, and he was appointed by President Obama. And this part is key. McCabe's old boss and his friend, James Comey, he's now admitting that he is the one that kick-started the entire probe against Andrew McCabe, not Donald Trump. Now, Comey's also saying that he could end up being a witness in a possible criminal case against Andrew McCabe, his number 2 at the FBI. Look at this.
If they ultimately bring a case against Andrew McCabe, would you be a witness for the prosecution?
Potentially. I don't know whether the reporting is accurate. I know it's CNN reporting, but I don't know it of my own accord. But sure, given that the IG's report reflects interactions that Andy McCabe had with me and other FBI senior executives, I could well be a witness.
It looks like McCabe is clearly channeling his inner Hillary Clinton and pretending like there's some vast right-wing conspiracy out to get this guy, but it was his own friend, his boss, his number 1. He was number 2, James Comey. He's not sticking by him. Now, President Trump is weighing in on this on Twitter. He said, James Comey just threw Andrew McCabe under the bus. Inspector General's report on McCabe is a disaster for both of them, getting a lot of their own medicine. And speaking of Hillary Clinton, McCabe's growing legal exposure, this could be a very bad sign for her and other Obama deep state actors. Now, as we explained last night, nearly a dozen GOP lawmakers, they sent a criminal referral to the DOJ and the FBI demanding investigations into possible crimes committed by Clinton, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Loretta Lynch, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and other Obama-era officials. This is a massive story. Now take a look at the side of your screen. These are the criminal charges that they are recommending for just James Comey. And they sent the letter to the FBI, the DOJ, and U.S. Attorney John Hoover, laying out a pretty damning case against the former FBI director. As we warned him, don't write the book and don't go on a book tour. Now, they explain how Comey fixed the Clinton email investigation. Again, remember how long have we been telling you? Exoneration before interviewing Hillary Clinton and 17 other key witnesses. It doesn't work that way. And these lawmakers lay out how Comey gave conflicting testimony under oath, possibly even committing perjury, and admitted to having a friend leak the information about his memos to the New York Times, which in light of the Comey memos just released, he says, oh, I'm not sneaky, I'm not a leaker. Well, he admitted that he leaked. And the lawmakers are also referring criminal charges for Hillary Clinton over the scheme that she used, funneling over $12 million to Fusion GPS through a law firm, Perkins Coie, that then hired a foreign national. Remember, foreign nationals are bad, not supposed to influence our elections, Christopher Steele. And he's the one that used and created the unverified, uncorroborated dossier that was full of Russia and Russian government lies and propaganda, all in an effort to mislead you, the American people, in the lead up to an election. Now, criminal charges are also being recommended by these lawmakers for former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, threatening the Uranium One informant. He was on this show with reprisal. Anti-Trump FBI lovers, Strzok and Lisa Page, they're also being referred for criminal charges. Now, this congressional letter is also asking Andrew McCabe and other Obama deep state officials, those involved in the dossier, be investigated for possible criminal conduct. And finally tonight, James Comey's media circus is now turning into what is an unmitigated disaster for the disgraced former FBI director. Just this weekend, Comey was trashing President Trump to Clinton's sycophant, BFF George Stephanopoulos. Remember this.
You write that President Trump is unethical, untethered to the truth. Is Donald Trump unfit to be president?
Yes. But not in the way I often hear people talk about it. I don't buy the stuff about him being mentally incompetent at early stages of dementia. He strikes me as a person of above average intelligence who's tracking conversations and knows what's going on. I don't think he's medically unfit to be president. I think he's morally unfit to be president. A person who sees moral equivalence in Charlottesville, who talks about and treats women like they're pieces of meat, who lies constantly about matters big and small and insists the American people believe it, that person's not fit to be president of the United States.
So after being called out for taking those petty, cheap shots, well, Comey all of a sudden, he's beginning to change his tune. Take a look.
You write that your experience in high school gave you a, quote, lifelong hatred for bullies. Do you think President Trump is a bully, and do you hate him?
I definitely don't hate him. There are things he does that make me uncomfortable and I think are inappropriate, that are in some ways like a bully-like behavior, but I don't hate Donald Trump. I don't even dislike Donald Trump.
All right, so Comey can't seem to make his mind up. Now, the guy spent the past year slamming President Trump, including mocking his appearance in every way imaginable, and now we're supposed to believe that Comey, when he tells us that, oh, he doesn't hate the president. Do you think we're that dumb? It is a massive contradiction for James Comey, but it's not the only confounding answer this guy is giving. Here's Comey claiming that he's never been asked if Hillary Clinton obstructed justice in her email case during a radio interview on WTOP in D.C. This is unbelievable. Take a listen.
Why wouldn't smashing of cell phones and the destruction of thousands of emails during an investigation clearly be obstruction of justice?
Now, that's a great question. That's the first time I've been asked that. And the answer is it would depend upon what the intent of the people doing it was. Lots of people smash their cell phones so they're not resold on the secondary market and your personal stuff ends up in somebody else's hands. But if you smash your cell phone knowing that investigators want it and that they've cut a subpoena for it, for example, that is a different thing and can be obstruction of justice.
The law requires intent?
Yes, it requires not just intent, but that prosecutors demonstrate corrupt intent.
All right, seriously? He was never asked if Clinton and her team obstructed justice, really? Okay, try this. Subpoenaed emails, subpoenaed. Okay, imagine then if we have to worry about intent. After the subpoena, you delete 33,000 emails. You use acid wash, bleach pitch, which most Americans had never heard about. Then someone on your team smashes your mobile devices with a hammer. Seriously, after the subpoena, there's no intent? Good luck to any of you that try that with any court or any prosecutor in the country. I don't think it's going to work out well. Now, Comey is either totally and completely incompetent or he must think we're fools. Now, this is why so many people have been calling for an unbiased investigation into what Hillary Clinton has done here. Do we have equal justice under the law? Equal application under the laws? Are we a constitutional republic? Here with reaction, the author of Trump Up, Harvard Law School professor Alan Dershowitz, who many in the media said I'd never invite back on the show, which is totally untrue, and Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Welcome back, both of you. Greg, I know you've been pouring through all of of these memos.
Right.
What is remarkable, I think, is what Ed Henry picked up on. I'm not sneaky and I don't leak. Okay.
Well,
apparently he's sneaky and he leaks.
We know he's sneaky and he leaks, and so that puts a lie to that statement. The two things that jump out at me is that the president expresses that he's got this Russia cloud hanging over him. Can you look into it and clear it up and lift the cloud? Because Comey had told the president, he didn't find any wrongdoing on his part. And when the president says, please lift the cloud, Comey says, we're running it down. The other thing that strikes me is there is absolutely no evidence here of any obstruction of justice. This is recounted conversation exactly as his testimony. There's nothing else in there, no red flags, no smoking gun that would incriminate the president. And so as Trey Gowdy, who had seen this several months ago, said, it's the best Exhibit A defense of President Trump.
Let me go to Professor Dershowitz, and Professor, you're always welcome on the show, whether we agree or disagree. I have deep respect for you, and I know we disagree on a lot of the Hillary part of this, which I'll be glad to get into. But let's first go to the leak. That's a crime. If we're going to be technical, 18 U.S.C. 793, Greg Jarrett, you've taught me a lot in the last year. Number one, when you couple this, nothing about Russia collusion, Rod Rosenstein's statement to the president that he's not a target in either case, the New York case or Mueller's case. Does that not put emphasis on the fact that there was no collusion whatsoever?
Well, collusion is not a crime. I have seen no evidence of collusion. Obstruction of justice can't be charged against a sitting president for exercising his authority under Article 2 of the Constitution. But if I were the president, I would be concerned about the Southern District of New York, which is probably why he brought Rudy Giuliani onto his team, who was the former U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. Because, as I've told clients for 53 years, you can't have any confidence that your best friend, your brother, your sister-in-law won't flip. If the government charges them with serious crimes, you can charge people with a series of technical crimes that could result in life imprisonment. The pressure is intense. And then the pressure is not only to sing, but to compose. Because what happens is a witness knows that he'll get a better deal if he can elaborate, if he can make up stories, if he can tell the government what the government wants to hear. And that may not always be the truth. So I don't think that President Trump is out of the woods yet. I think he has to be concerned about the Southern District of New York. I don't think he ever had any real vulnerability from the special counsel's investigation of the Russia thing. But I'll tell you, all this stuff that's coming out now confirms what I've said from day one. There should have been a nonpartisan National Commission of Experts looking into the entire 2016 election, faults on all sides. What was the Russian effort? What did they do? What did each of the candidates do without recrimination? Just to avoid a repetition of this in the future. When you start by looking for crimes, you don't end up getting the truth.
Devin